Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the iPhone 14 and compare it against the iPhone 6s and see which specific one you should go and pick up. Now, clearly the iPhone 6s is the better phone here. Just kidding, the iPhone 14 is the better one. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can also support the channel at the same time. Now, notice how fast the iPhone 6s battery life is going to go down. I just unplugged it, it's 100%. So by the end of this video, it'd be very interesting to see where we're at. Now on the front, very massive differences as you guys can probably tell. The iPhone 6s, which came out back in 2015, has a pretty small 4.7 inch IPS panel. Wow, we have gotten a long ways away from then. And honestly, it wasn't a bad panel. This was the second year in a row where Apple went ahead and actually, kept that same 4.7 inch display. However, if you think about it, the iPhone SE 3 that just came out this year still has basically this type of design, which is insane. So the fact that this iPhone still kind of looks kind of modern is pretty insane to me. We have pretty thick bezels on the top and bottom. We still have Touch ID 2 on the front, which is actually not that bad, but it is a pretty archaic panel when it comes down to it. On the iPhone 14, on the other hand, we are getting a much bigger 6.1 inch Super Red XDR OLED panel. Now, this is a really good display. It's very bright. It's definitely better than the iPhone 6s's. And it's a 60 Hz panel still, but it looks very good. It gets very bright. You saw the notch, but it is a far better looking display than any phone, especially like the iPhone 6s. The 6s still doesn't look ugly, but the iPhone 14 definitely looks far better for sure. Now, for the rest of the body, what's very interesting is, the iPhone 6s is a much smaller phone. So because of that, you're going to be getting a way thinner type of exterior. So you can see right here how much thinner the iPhone 6s is over the iPhone 14. Now the volume buttons and the ringer switches are almost at the same spot. We do have a SIM card tray on the iPhone 6s, which is really nice, but we do not have it on the iPhone 14, which is very weird. Now, funny enough, on the bottom, the iPhone 6s actually has a headphone jack. It was the last iPhone to have a headphone jack, and we have lightning ports on both, as well as the speaker grills on the bottom. Now on the back, we do have a kind of different type of setup, as most of you can probably tell. The iPhone 14 has a dual camera setup. The iPhone 6s has a single camera setup. So take it as you will. You can also see how much bigger the iPhone 14's camera is over the 6s. I mean, the flash of the iPhone 14 looks about the same size as the camera lens on the iPhone 6s. Like, it's crazy. So just keep that in mind. We are getting a glass back on the iPhone 14, and it's overall way better feeling, but the aluminum still feels very premium. Like, it does not feel like a cheap phone at all on the iPhone 6s. Now with the iPhone 14, you are getting things like wireless charging, 5G, dual eSIM support, wireless charging. You're getting MagSafe capability right here, crash detection, and emergency SOS satellite mode. You are not getting any of those features on the iPhone 6s, which is kind of expected, but it is kind of one of those things to keep in mind as well. So in terms of that kind of covers up the outside between them. You're also getting IP certification on the iPhone 14 as well. You are not getting that on the iPhone 6s. Now, in terms of software and longevity, this is pretty easy to talk about. The iPhone 6s is completely done getting software support, at least for the full OS X updates. Now, it can still go ahead and, pretty much get like the next version of software on iOS 15, but it's not going to be getting like iOS 15 but it's not going to be getting iOS 16 anymore. So it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. It's one of those things that happen. So, and at that specific situation, and that is kind of how that covers this up. The iPhone 6s is pretty much outdated, but the iPhone 14 is still going to be around for many more years to come. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 6s has the Apple A9 chip inside of it with 2 GB of RAM, where the iPhone 14 has an Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 GB of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear in the background, so let us get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, definitely delay on the 6s. Hopping in and out of apps is also going to be slower on the 6s as well. Music 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 different panels. So we're going to click back into there. I mean, it still probably would have been faster on the iPhone 14 for sure. Let's go and get into settings, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that one's faster. Let's go and get into App Store, 3, 2, 1. Totally messed that one up, but I would be curious to see if it's still faster on the iPhone 14. And it wasn't, but it was still very close. So the iPhone 14 would have still been faster. Now scrolling through, let's see if there's any big differences. And for the iPhone 6s being made in 2015, it's still actually a fairly smooth phone. But the iPhone 14, I think, is noticeably smoother, but it's still kind of a smooth experience on both. But hopping out of an application, that's where you can kind of tell how much slower the iPhone 6s is. Clock, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go get a 2 camera, 3, 2, 1. Great, now let's go take a photo. Let's go and open up that photo. So definitely a little bit of a delay on the iPhone 6s photos, 3, 2, 1. There we go. We do have some of these third-party applications we can go and open up between both. So we can try Twitter, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 14 definitely faster, 6s a little bit behind. Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. 14 again is faster. The 6s took a long time. I don't know why that phone took that long of a time. Instagram, 3, 2, 1. 14 is faster. 6s, I guess I was logged into an account, so we'll just kind of let this one slide. We can try Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a pop-up, so we will get the iPhone 6s a little bit of a advantage there. But even then, it was like a 2-second pop-up, and this has been taking way longer than 2 seconds. So you can kind of get an idea of how much faster the iPhone 6s should be, and it's still taking a long time now. I do want to go and get into some bit of a gameplay with this one. So you can see right here, even loading into it, no glitches surprisingly, but it was still a very, very slow experience loading into that game. I mean, it took a long time. So getting into this game, I do want to showcase you, even getting into the game, there's a little bit of sound. Look how much more glitching is going on with this type of phone. I mean, it is pretty wild if I'm being honest, hopping out of this one. We can try, I mean, that kind of covers up most of the games I had. So I will definitely tell you when it comes down to it, the iPhone 6s is definitely going to be the far better one. Pretty much in every, the iPhone 14 is going to be the far better one. The iPhone 6s is noticeably glitchier, so it's quite obvious the iPhone 14 kind of wins here. So, and that kind of covers it up here. Now in the camera department, as I mentioned before, you're getting a solid camera on the iPhone 14. On the iPhone 6s, what's funny is though, I think the iPhone 6s was a more impactful camera, meaning this thing, when it first came out, gave us 12 megapixels, it gave us a 4K lens, that's some, pretty good stuff. We are getting 4K 60 on the front and the back, and it's just a way better camera on the iPhone 14. But with the iPhone 6s, I think it was probably the more impactful camera and probably the more impactful phone between the two. Now with the 6s, you're still getting a solid camera. I still think this thing is pretty decent. You're getting the capability of zooming in a bit, zooming out a bit. You're getting the video, slow-mo mode, time-lapse. You're getting the square feature and panorama mode. You're really not getting too many crazy features compared to nowadays, but it's still, I mean, it was a big upgrade coming from the iPhone 6. I think that's the best way to describe it. It really doesn't hold up super well anymore. But last year I did do a video comparing an edited iPhone 6s photo compared to an iPhone 13 photo, and some of the photos looked better on the iPhone 6s than the iPhone 14, which was actually very interesting. And I wasn't even using any software, or any paid software. I was using the stock built-in editing app. Now with the iPhone 14, you're getting that ultra-wide camera and a much bigger wide-angle lens. So you are getting just way more capability. Like this is the future, not the future, but this is a way more modern type of camera. So you're getting the 0.5x zoom, so you can zoom out and get that ultra-wide camera effect. But you can also get 5x zoom on this phone too, which is really cool. Having that type of capability is really awesome. But on top of that, you're getting video mode with the new action mode. You're getting cinematic mode, which is like portrait mode for video. You're getting, portrait mode, which is really cool, and panorama mode. Like, you were getting so many features within the iPhone 14 compared to the iPhone 6. So again, this is another classic case of this phone being far better than the iPhone 6s as well. So to kind of sum up this specific comparison, I will probably tell you the iPhone 14 is definitely the better phone in every single area. It is a substantially better phone than the iPhone 6s. In fact, I mean, some of the big things is like battery life. Look, I'm at 88% on the iPhone 6s. It just randomly dropped. It went from like 100% to 88. This is still at 98%, and it was at 98% earlier on. I've only been filming this video for like 9 minutes and 30 seconds. And the 14 is going to give you better display, better performance, better cameras, longevity, pretty much everything you'd ever want on the iPhone. It's going to be on the iPhone 14. The 6s was a more impactful phone though when it first came out than the iPhone 14. So that's really all I can get this phone. I wouldn't recommend buying it anymore. If you still own it, I think going up to the iPhone 14 or 13 or 12 or 11 or 10 would probably be better upgrades than keeping the 6s at this point. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, till then.